Hello and welcome to another video tutorial Monday. This week I wanted to show you how to make a splatter watercolor background and then dress it up with a little bit of vellum and a sentiment going across it. So I've started playing again with my watercolors. These are from Prang. They're the 16 count watercolors, and you can get these for like $10. They're super inexpensive and pretty high quality and really easy to use, which is what I really love about them. Especially since the mess is self-contained, you never have to worry about getting a palette out or anything like that. When you want to use a color, you just dip your paintbrush in the water and then swish it around in the color that you want to use, and then you're good to go. So I really like that about them. So I wanted to make a background with them today. So I've cut down a piece of cardstock that's 3 3/4 by 5 inches tall, and this will fit perfectly on the front of a standard size A2 card. And I've cut the paper out of this watercolor paper from Lowe and Cornell. It's just something that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I'll have a link on my blog post where you can find this paper exactly, but any watercolor paper that you have will work. It doesn't need to be particularly amazing watercolor paper, you're just splattering it with water, so use what you have on hand. So first we're going to start out by, I'm going to bring this box up on my desk here, and this will help protect my work surface, because since I'll be flicking the water down, I don't want the droplets to get all over, with the potential of getting all of my other supplies for the card full of color that I don't want to be there. So I'm going to set my watercolors right up on this box lid actually, and then I have my little bucket of water here, and I can just put that in my box. And now I need to decide what colors to use. I think I want to stick with warm colors because I want it to be kind of like a sunshiny, happy card. But I'm going to try to stay away from the red because for some reason, you know, red and splattering, it tends to look a little bit gruesome. So I'm going to try to stick to like oranges and yellows and maybe a little bit of yellow-green. So I'm going to start out with my yellow first, I believe. And so I'm just using my water and going back and forth and getting this nice and fluid. And you just kind of swish it around until it gets about the consistency that you want it. And the more you swish it around, the more intense the color is. And then we're just going to hold the paintbrush parallel to the work surface and tap it. Looking good. I think a little bit more yellow would be good. And if you get it closer, you have more concentrated. If you get it farther away, the speckles spread out more. So I'm just going to do this with the other colors, and I'm going to do, you know, 3 or 4 colors. Actually, we'll do yellow-orange next. And this palette works where it's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, brown, black, and then on the other side here are the mixtures of those. So red, orange, yellow, green. So you'll just go back and forth across the palette. And now that I'm done with my watercolors, cleanup is super easy. You just make sure your brush is all cleaned out, and I'm just gonna wipe off the excess water on my box and take out any other brushes that you had in there. I like to keep this one in here because it came with the set. And the colors aren't too runny. I didn't put too much water in them, so I can just close it up and put it away. Super simple, super easy. The hardest part is pouring out your water, so not a big deal at all. So I'll be back in a second once my watercolor paper dries, just, you know, 5 minutes, and then we'll start putting together our card. Okay, so I'm back with my dried watercolor background, and you can see it here, nice and happy and sunshiny. And so I really want to let this background shine for itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add just a little bit of spiced marmalade distress ink around the edges, and this will really accent that orange color, but it will also just let it, it won't interfere with any of the colors that are already there. And I'm just going to do a really light coat around the outside. This will help it pop off the craft cardstock that we're going to put it on, and we'll also give it a nice and finished look. Now I'm just using my ATG to adhere the watercolor paper to this craft cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. And then I want to keep it kind of simple, and I'm just going to put a sentiment across the bottom, but I don't want to interfere with all of this really pretty painting that we did. So I'm going to use some cardstock vellum. This is from Paper Tray Ink, and I want to use the sentiment from Denami Design called Sending You Sunshine. So what I'm going to do is, since this is vellum, it needs to be stamped with StazOn, which is a solvent ink that will actually dry on the slippery material. And in order to work with the wood stamp, I'm going to use my Stamp-A-Majig by just pushing this little sheet that comes with it into the corner of the Stamp-A-Majig and stamping down. And this will give me a perfect reference guide for placing my sentiment on my vellum strip, because now I can place it, just eyeballing it onto the sheet, hold it down, put my positioner in place, and then I can remove the reference sheet. And the wood stamp, since it is mounted, the sentiment is always in the same place in relation to where the wood block starts. So this template will help us get the perfect positioning every time. So this is an indispensable tool for using with wood stamps. And you can see here we have an absolutely perfect image. And that's the thing I really love about the Stamp-A-Majig. It not only helps you put it in the right place, but it also keeps it steady so that it doesn't slide on that slippery material. So now I can go ahead and look and see where I want to put it on the card. I really want to put it, you know, right down in this corner, I think. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to put it up here, because it'll be a nice balance to the extra splatter that we have going on here. So this is already dry, and you can just test by touching it. I'm picking it up. It's already dry because it's a solvent ink. And I'm going to use some score tape. This is 1/8 of an inch wide. And I'm going to apply it across this whole piece here, right along the edge. And this is how I apply vellum to my cards a lot of the time, because you can actually just leave it like this. The stripe of adhesive won't show very much, but I think I'm going to put some glitter over it. So I'll show you how I do that. So I'm just going to take this adhesive, the extra strips off of it, and then I'm going to very carefully put it down, because once this stuff is down, it really sticks. So you only have one chance to get it right. Alright, and now that I have that stuck down, I can just adhere another strip of this exact same adhesive over the top. And this time, you want to make sure it's more about placing it an equal part distance away from the sentiment than it is actually placing it on the edge of the vellum. So it doesn't need to be exactly right, because this the glitter will cover up any little imperfections that you have. And you can just tear it. You don't even need to cut it with scissors, which is something I really like about this tape. And then I'm going to put down a piece of just regular printer paper behind it. And first I'm going to trim off my extra adhesive, because we don't need any more glitter sticking where it's not supposed to. And then first I trimmed off my extra adhesive off the side here, just to keep glitter from sticking where it's not supposed to. And make sure to press down the ends really well, and then just peel the backing off. And then I'm going to use this Martha Stewart glitter. It's her Crystal Fine. and just sprinkle it across. And actually, I'm just going to take the cap off because we're going to put this back in the tube anyways. So you might as well get it right the first time. And then just kind of rub it in, rub it over. And this score tape will pick up the glitter without a problem. And then you see it's nice and shiny. And you can't even see where the tape was. So I'm just going to clean this up very carefully by kind of folding my paper in half. Just making a line for the glitter to go down. And then slowly pour it into the container. Okay, and now that I have my glitter adhered across my sentiment strip, I think I just need to add a little bit more, a little bit something extra. So what I'm going to do is add 3 blobs of glossy accents in the corner here. And we're basically going to imitate glitter brads. But these are way cheaper than glitter brads, of course. So 3 circles of glossy accents, and then I'm just going to do a little bit more glitter. You could use some stickles for this, but I wanted to make sure the glitter matched exactly right. So I'm using the same exact glitter, and that will obviously make it match. And then you just let these dry. Make sure you let it dry nice and flat. But that's the perfect accent to our card. It adds a little bit more glitter, brings in an extra element, so now we have the main element down here, the sentiment here, and then some accents here, and that gives us a nice visual triangle around our card. So there we have it. Here's a picture of the finished card, and here's a close-up. Thank you so much for watching this week, and I will catch you again next week at another video tutorial Monday.